When you start looking at kind of the revenue they generated, you talk about blowout quarters in a way. The EPS was $1.62 versus the estimates of $1.53. So, I mean, they just kind of blew through the estimates. Revenue was $68.13 billion. That was up 73% year over year. So they almost doubled their revenue on a year over year basis. Estimates were for $65 billion. Data center revenue was $62.3 billion. That was up 75% year over year. It was $2 billion above the $60 billion estimate. Compute revenue was $51 billion. That was up 58% year over year. Networking revenue was $10.98 billion. You're looking at a company that is growing revenues in all its divisions like 50% or more every year. And that stock's been under a lot of pressure lately, just technically. But then you have companies like Walmart that are just going off to the moon that are growing at revenue at 5% a year. You just have to kind of keep some of these things in perspective of looking forward rather than getting too tied up in what's happening in the market currently. Pay attention to where the earnings and revenue growth are going to be in the future. And again, just some of these numbers. I mean, I've never in 35 years seen companies post numbers like this. It's just pretty phenomenal.
I think what's most incredible about this report is the lack of market reaction.
Mm-hmm.
When I first saw the numbers, I was like, NVIDIA is going to be up 10, 15, maybe 20% on this. It was up a few percent last night. It actually down today, and they beat across the board, whether it's forward guidance, revenue, sales. So I think the underlying message is that the market is still concerned about capital. Where's the capital going to come from to keep funding AI? And it's not just NVIDIA, but NVIDIA's customers. Where's the capital going to come from? And we've seen that worry for the last few months. We see it in the credit default swaps with those levels rising. We saw, who was it, Google this year with the $32 billion deal and with the 100-year bond in it. So I think that's kind of the market's message. We don't care that your earnings are unbelievable. What we're still worried about is capital. And for NVIDIA, capital's not an issue. They're spitting out 35 billion in free cash flow a quarter.
Right.
You were earlier comparing Walmart to NVIDIA, and we did that a few weeks ago. NVIDIA, as much of it as it was a value stock 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when we talked about it, it's even cheaper today. This market reaction is actually stunning to me, especially since it's gone nowhere for the last, 3 or 4 months.
Right.
It's not like it was sitting and anticipating this great gain and sitting at all-time highs and up 10, 15% over the last month or two. It's just been stagnant. This negative AI narrative is just still permeating the market.
Catch me daily on The Real Investment Show. The link is in the description.